Welcome back to TwstNotes, where I summarize the latest story update in JP. I'm exhausted and having an extremely bad time. It's 4 AM as I'm writing this intro and depending on Chapel Roan's music to fix my brain. This update is really long, so buckle in. I wrote the majority of the script as I read. I don't think it saved me any time. But yeah, let's go over Chapter 7, parts 245 to 268. The gang lands on an island. Ordo asks Kate how he did traversing the dreamscape for the first time, and he says he loved it and it was kind of like skydiving. The gang realizes they're on a beach and try to fuck. I love I see the word beach and I immediately think of that vine of let's go to the beach. Nicki Minaj. Like, I love that is the first thing I think of. Anyway, they're on a beach and trying to figure out where they are. Sebek asks if it's the Sunset Savannah because of sand, and Leona says no. Deuce says Ace is from the Queendom of Roses like he is, but he's closer to the capital than he is. Clocktown is more south. Leona points out, though, that they're definitely on a beach, whereas the capital of the Queendom is, like, by a large canal. They get off topic for a bit, talking about surfing and racing vehicles. The gang then notices footprints in the sand, and Silver says the person who left them would be about his size. It's their only lead, and Deuce is sure Ace left them, so they go follow them. They find Ace wearing his tropical wear outfit by a cottage. He calls out to Yu, Grim, Deuce, and Kate, saying they're late and he was getting tired of waiting. Everyone's like, what the hell are you wearing? And he's like, what the hell are you guys doing in your school uniforms? He's also surprised about how many people are there and says he did tell them they can invite more people, but he's surprised at Ordo, Silver, Sebek, and Leona. Riddle comes out, saying Ace is being too loud. He's also in his tropical wear outfit. Definitely can say I don't think any of us were expecting this in Ace's stream. Everyone is also shocked at what he's wearing, and Riddle says that Ace said this is what people wore. He quietly asks Kate if it looks bad, but Kate reassures him that it looks cute. Trey shows up in a silk-adorned outfit, saying he wasn't expecting so many people, but barbecue will be fun with a lot of people. Trey reveals Kate rented the island from Kaleem and it's a private island. Kate quickly starts playing along, but then Trey asks why Kate is in his dorm uniform since he apparently left earlier to go take a selfie on the beach. Kate is flustered for a moment before responding he was worried about making a mess while helping with food prep, so he changed. Trey's like, oh yeah, these clothes that Kaleem's family had for us seem pretty expensive, we gotta be careful. He mentions they're celebrating and Leona asks what. Trey's like, Deuce, did you really bring them here without saying why? And Deuce is like, I forgot. But we learn the celebration is because you can travel between their world and Twisted Wonderland now. Everyone in our gang is completely shocked. Trey asks Kate why he's surprised when he's the one who organized the celebration. Kate doesn't have a response this time. Ace goes on and is like, I can't believe the head mage found a way to get you home. Everyone is still floundering, and Riddle's like, yeah, according to the head mage, you can travel back and forth between your world and Twisted Wonderland. And I am ugly crying in the club. Trey talks about how glad he is that you can come and go as they please, since whenever the subject of you coming home came up, the guys seemed depressed. Ace is like, nuh-uh, it was just Grim and Deuce don't let me in with them. Trey and Riddle leave to go finish preparations, but Kate offers himself, Leona, Idia, and Silver as help. Leona is not pleased with that. Kate leans into him and is like, one of them has to be in charge, right? And Sebek concurs. He says they should leave the freshmen to try and wake Ace up while they figure out who the darkness is. They leave the freshman alone with Ace. Deuce is like, how do we do this? And Ordo is like, we could shock him, but it might not be the greatest idea. Sebek is like, I don't know him. Why should I be a part of this? Grim is like, okay, Deuce, let's go. Heartshackle goes inside to change. Deuce is like, hey, don't you remember we haven't even done our finals yet? Also the whole thing with Mickey. And Ace is like, what do you mean we haven't done our finals? Riddle would hate that joke. He also has no idea what Mickey is and he's never heard of it. Grim is like, Mickey is that bitch in the mirror. How do you not remember this? Ace is like, I have no idea who that is. And Deuce reminds him of talking about it with the other freshmen. Ace starts to remember. They go all in and Deuce is like, okay, you have to listen to me. This is a dream created by Malleus. Ace laughs and is like, you guys suck at lying. Ordo comes in and backs them up, explaining more of the situation and all of Sage's island is asleep. Ace is like, really? You're in on this too? It's not funny. He then asks you if this is a joke. They're of course honest and he's like, what is up with you guys today? Grim is like, we're not lying. Oh my god, just listen to us. Ace starts remembering, but then he stops just before waking up. He's refusing to wake up. He's like, what the fuck, guys? Can't you tell when I'm telling you to stop? Sebek gets irritated and decides to join in. He's like, look at them, do they look like they're joking? He proceeds to tear Ace apart, saying he's belittling them and refusing to take them seriously, and he calls Ace shallow. Ace is like, who are you? you're only here because you got invited. And like, he's basically insinuating Sebek has no friends and he's just there not because he's friends with them or important to them, but he's only there because he got an invite. Sebek is like, do you think I wanted to come? And he says he's there because they need all the help to fight Malleus that they can get. Ace asks them if the reality he's in is a dream. Why is that a problem? They're all gonna become sophomores, you can go home and doesn't have to leave Twisted Wonderland forever. Why is that a bad thing? Sebek says that of course it's a problem because success in a dream isn't real success. But Ace asks if you spent your whole life in a dream, then those dreams wouldn't be dreams, they'd be your reality and therefore real. Sebek points out that if they do nothing, it'll engulf the world, to which Ace's response is okay, and continues to argue his case, adding that some people would probably want to live happily like that. Sebek's like, well, Malleus would be left alone in the real world and would be doing this for the rest of his life. Ace is like, well, I mean, he chose that for himself. If he gets lonely, that's a him problem. Which, well, yeah, I'm biased because Malleus is my fave. That line gives me an ick I can't fully explain. Sebek is big mad. Ace continues on and is like, well, wouldn't that make us victims and why should we have to fight back? He also says it's not guaranteed they beat Malleus anyways. They continue arguing, but it's clear he does not want to wake up. He runs off and Grim is like, ugh, this is gonna take a while. Sebek is mad and Deuce is like, you kind of flopped, Diva. Sebek is confused and Ordo says Sebek was getting emotional and making excuses. That also kind of gives me an ick a little bit too. Ace had been more or less calm through the whole thing. Ordo says he hasn't met someone with Ace's opinion, but it's still valid. Sebek demands to know if Ordo's really gonna take his side. Ordo is like, both sides of this are selfish in this scenario and we're not better than Ace. If someone other than Malleus had caused this disaster, would you have been so desperate to end it like you are currently? Sebek is at a loss for words. The upperclassmen return. Kate quickly realizes the plan to wake Ace up failed. The freshmen fill the others in and Leona's like, well, that little Soon has a point. Idia also sides with the others and Silver is like, Ace was justified, you have got to stop acting so arrogant and overbearing with humans. Sebek tries to defend himself, saying Ace wasn't taking you or the others seriously. Silver points out Sebek didn't initially believe them either in his dream and fought them on it. Sebek is again at a loss for words, and Silver is like, will you do some self-reflection this time? Idia is like, well, Ace was right when he said it's not guaranteed we'll beat Malleus, and Silver is like, true. He doesn't want to force people to fight and muses that maybe they should just move on to the next dream. Leona is like, yeah, he seems to be aware, but it's not like he's anything other than an ordinary mage. He's not a big loss, so let's move on. Deuce is not super happy with that. Kate is also not super happy with it. He says he doesn't want Ace spending his life in a dream, but he'll go and put him into a deeper sleep to make him happy. He leaves. Deuce wonders if Kate is really planning on leaving Ace alone in his dream. He decides to try and talk to Ace one last time, and they go after him and Kate. Grim and you are with him. Yeah. Ordo is like, should we follow? And Idia tells them they should hang back but stay close-ish, because Ace isn't generating a lot of the island. Deuce, Grim, and you catch up with Kate, and Deuce pleads with him to not put Ace back to sleep, and Kate is like, don't worry, I wasn't going to. I only said it because Idia probably would have tried to stop me from doing anything else. He points out that the darkness comes out when people try to wake up the dreamer, and the gang is like, true, that happens. Kate reveals his plan is to purposely lure out the darkness to either let Ace sleep or point out the discrepancies with the dream. Deuce insists on coming with to help since the darkness might get Kate, but he insists on going alone. Deuce relents. Ace is at a waterfall thinking about what just happened. He's angry about it and then thinking about their study camp and remembers the headmate saying he found a way home for you. Ace says you look so happy and is like, even their face, and trails off. This bitch is down horrendously bad. The others catch up to him. Ace is like, oh crap, the barbecue. Is Riddle mad? And Kate is like, no, Deuce and the others were worried. Ace says he doesn't want to hear it because of the thing with Sebek. He's like, can you fucking believe what they said? Kate is like, I know, that was crazy, and plays along for a while, but then he says he can prove it's a dream, which shocks Ace. Kate casts his unique Maho and starts attacking Ace. He's getting his ass beat, and wants to know why Kate is doing this. He starts to wake up, but Trey and Riddle rush in, confirming they're the darkness. Trey asks Kate to come with him, demanding to know what's going on. A fake Deuce and Kate come rushing in, and the fake Kate is confused, saying he hasn't used his unique Maho. Those fakes are ordered to take Ace to safety, while Trey and Riddle fight the real Kate. We cut to Grim and Deuce. They wonder whether they should come in and help when the rest of the group shows up. The others also want to help, but Leona says they shouldn't because Kate asked them to leave it to him. Idia is worried about this attracting Malleus, and Leona is impressed with Kate's plan. Meanwhile, Riddle and Trey are still with Ace. Kate lets them talk in Baby Ace, the fakes reveal themselves to be the dark, like the sprite change, and Ace starts to get swallowed up. The real Kate starts talking, asking Ace if he thinks everyone in their dorm would talk like that. Ace says no, but if he admits he's sleeping, it means they all have to fight Malleus. Girl, they were gonna do it with or without you. He says it's not fair for him to fight Malleus. The fakes try to coax him into sleeping again. Kate asks if he's really okay with all this. The others are worried, but Idia says that Ace being like this is kind of predictable since mages have a lot of pride, but there's always someone better than you. Leona says not everyone is able to stomach that. He also says it's safest to stop when you reach your best. And he rightfully points out that if he's this hesitant about fighting Malleus, he's gonna put everyone else at risk during the fight, and he'd be better being left out, which honestly I agree with that. I think he's spot on. Kate is like, remember Riddle's overblot and how scared we were and how pointless it felt, but we did it and won? He gives Ace a pep talk, which includes him saying it's lame to only fight people you know you can beat. And Ace pulls whatever the fuck this face is. I clowned on it on Twitter, but let's be real. The amount of Yandere edits that use the sprite is going to be insane. Ace is like, if I run away from this, it'd be hella uncool. He starts to wake up. The Darkness are big mad and get aggressive with Ace. He finally wakes up and like 3 or 4 of his flashback memories were heavily featuring you. It was the moment he met you, them beating the Phantom in the mines, Riddle crying over his overblot, and then Heart Shackle in the sports field, I think after the whole chapter 6 thing. God, he is so down bad. I'm like, I feel happy for the ACU shippers. I like one-sided ACU where he has feelings and they don't. I love that. That is my crack. But ACU shippers, y'all got so much food. Anyways, they get Ace out of the darkness and run away. Kate calls out to Leona and the others for help, and everyone fights the darkness. They beat the darkness, yay, no one saw that coming. Grim and Deuce are immediately like, oh my god, you made this so hard. Ace is like, come on, Kate attacked me. He also is like, couldn't you have woken me up more gently? Again, though, we're raising an eyebrow. He also asks what the plan is to fight Malleus, and Ordo shows him the video. He's like, why is Malleus like this? And Leona is like, I know, right? And Ace is like, you cause problems for everyone with your overblot. You can't talk. Anyways, the others have to fight back laughter. Honestly, I was cracking up. Kate is like, yay, the freshies are back, and actually gives them a squad nickname. He calls them the Itsumen Quartet, which, to be honest, I find it interesting he's giving them a nickname considering we've been calling them Heart Shackle for years. Also, it loosely translates to Close Friend Quartet. I can't even say it's giving something because it's giving nothing at all. It somehow manages to serve up absolutely nothing. Go girl, give us nothing. I'm disappointed in you, Kate Diamond. I will say I really hope this is something that the localization team changes. At first, because of how it's written, I thought, oh, well, it must be like a pun or something. No, it's not a pun. I mean, maybe it is and I just didn't figure it out. But no, I don't think it's a pun. So I was just like, oh, okay. Silver apologizes on Sebek's behalf to Ace, and Ace asks Sebek if he's not embarrassed having Lilia and Silver always apologize for him. Ordo is like, yeah, this would be easier if you just apologized for earlier. Ace is like, well, I'm the bigger person, so I can forgive Sebek. He obviously does not like that, but Kate breaks up the fight before it can start. The gang decides to go to Trey's dream next, and Idia is like, okay, let me give Deuce and Ace dream form change. Okay, so normally I don't play clips with audio, however, I feel like I have to play this in its entirety. Deuce thinks it's cool, but Ace is like, this is so lame. LOL. LMAO even. Everyone laughs at them. Anyways, they give Ace the invite, make the dummy data, and head to Trey's dream. They land in Heart's Lobule. Ace found the dream traversing really fun, and Kate takes pictures of him because that's his first response to anything. Ordo is impressed that they've all done really well, and Kate is like, well, our dorm gets weird sometimes, so maybe that's why, or maybe we're just built different. Also, they talk a lot, just filling him in. Not gonna lie, I was low-key browsing Twitter while reading this because I got bored. And everyone was talking about the new Tangled event, which, oh my god, I want to cosplay that Riddle so badly. It is so cute. Then they switched topics and I had to scroll back through the log because I wasn't understanding anymore. The gang is talking about how many times they've traversed dreams, and Grim is like, we've come so far! Sebek is like, these aren't just our victories, we've had help from people. And Silver points out that Grim did not always have help and held his own against the darkness before and protected you. Grim gets a bit embarrassed being praised and is like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm the boss of Ramshackle, protecting you is a part of my job, and if you is gone, I can't stay at NRC. Deuce and Ace start ribbing Grim. Leona's like, oh my god, can y'all shut up so we can find the dream's owner? Which, to be honest, hard agree, although I did like the nice break to see other people's reactions on Twitter. They smell butter in the air and realize Trey must be cooking, so they head to the kitchen. Before they go into the kitchen, though, Kate stops them. He points out it would be sus if everyone entered the kitchen all at once, so only a few should go in. He also points out it's possible some Fates of the Heart's Lobule students could be in there. They agree he's got a point and decide on Kate, Leona, and Idia to go in first and, scope things out. Idia and Leona do not like that, but do it anyways. The others listen in on what's going on via Idia's tablet's mic, Ordo kind of plugs into it, you know. The kitchen is way bigger, and also, I know it's not, but is that a fucking drink cooler on a little oven? Anyways, they're all shocked at how big the kitchen is and how many suites there are. Kate is kind of surprised since he was under the impression Trey was just putting up with the cooking duties, since Kate's mom and sister said desserts, they were hard to make and it was just easier to buy. Turns out Trey is just built different. The others find Trey and Chenya on the other side of the room. Chenya is having a meat pie and Trey is like, be careful, you'll burn your tongue. So Chenya is the housewarden now. Idia and Leona feel kind of vindicated for their earlier thoughts of Kate and Trey wanting to install someone as their puppet. That whole thing, way back. Kate doesn't explicitly confirm it, but he's like, I can't really deny it considering I dreamed I was housewarden. Ordo pops in and through the mic, and tells Idia to knock it off and stop concealing info, and explains that the dreams aren't a true reflection of desires. Meanwhile, the other freshmen are fighting and trying to look into the kitchen since they only have audio. Kate approaches Trey to help, and at first Trey is confused, but then is like, oh, you're one of the clones. Kate plays along, asking how he knew so fast. Trey's like, we've been together for years, I can tell, which, that is going to destroy Kate emotionally. Anyways, Trey asks about the others, and Kate says he bombed a quiz, so he asked for their help. Chenya says just to ask Riddle for help, and we learn he's still a student here, but he's not a housewarden. He did challenge Chenya for the position, but his unique Mahu didn't work on him, so Riddle didn't end up winning. Chenya is like, oh, I haven't shown you guys my unique Mahu. He casts it, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really understand the explanation for it. I thought Leona was saying it's basically an illusion, but then they said his body was legit gone, so I'm not sure, but anyway, Chenya shows it off. Riddle's magic can't cut off a head when it's just a head, and Chenya apparently was also able to dodge it too, so Riddle lost. Chenya eventually leaves with Trey reminding him that the unbirthday party is at 4 that day, and Trey remembers he has to bake a cake and leaves. Leaves for a different part of the kitchen. It's a big kitchen. The trio reconvenes and realizes this might be a difficult case because it's so mundane, so pointing things out will be difficult. Idia asks Kate if he has any ideas, but before he can respond, Trey comes back asking if they're hungry. He asks them to try a lemon dessert he made. Trey tells them to go to the table, but Leona says he'll get more decent feedback if he sits with them and watches them eat. Trey decides to join them. Kate likes the dessert since it's not overly sweet and has some bitterness to it. Leona says the taste isn't bad, but it's not filling at all and he'd rather have a meat pie. Trey obliges and asks if there's anything else they want. Leona just says he doesn't want vegetables because, quote, carnivores only eat vegetables when they're sick. I don't know what the vegetable version of scurvy is, but he's going to get it. The others outside the kitchen are extremely jealous and want to try some of the food too. The others start bickering and Ordo tells them to stop talking because he senses something big coming towards them. We hear loud footsteps and the others are worried it's darkness or something. Ordo says they should avoid fighting for now, and Deuce says they can hide in a hidden area behind a clock. The doors, or at least this one, can lead people to different places and they're low-key sentient, and I don't want to think about that anymore, so I'm not going to. We switch back to the senior squad in the kitchen. Trey keeps offering them food, and Leona is like, we don't have room on the table. He goes off to make more things, and the others are at a loss of what to do to get him to wake up. Trey comes back with some sticky toffee pudding, but Leona is like, we can't eat all of this, you have to help. Trey apologizes, saying he gets lost in the sauce when it comes to cooking. Idia asks Trey if he's always liked making sweets, and Trey says he doesn't necessarily like it, but his family runs a cake shop, so he's always been baking. He says he's always loved science experiments, and baking is like that, which true, baking is a science. You can do whatever the fuck you want when it comes to making mac and cheese, but if you look at a souffle wrong, it dies. But yeah, he says he feels very accomplished when the dessert turns out the way he imagined, and he likes people eating his sweets. He also talks about Riddle's mom flipping out when Riddle had some desserts. And Idia says that really, what's in a strawberry tart is in other foods, so it's not the end of the world. Kate talks about how when he heard about Riddle's mom's freak out, he thought she was terrible. And he says that Riddle kind of mentioned the extremely controlled diet once, and everyone just went silent because of how horrified they were. Everyone will be testifying for him at his emancipation hearing. Trey is just happy Riddle can eat as much as he wants now. He leaves, and the others wonder how he can be the vice housewarden considering everything. Kate goes on to say when Riddle enrolled, Trey hyped up Riddle to everyone, saying he was nice but kind of shy and everyone should try and get along with him. But apparently, Riddle kept giving Trey the cold shoulder and acting like they didn't know each other. However, after Riddle became housewarden, he had the dorm vote on a vice, and Trey won the vote. They chat for a bit and Leona stands up, ready to go wake Trey up from his dream. Idia tells him not to be brash because it would get Malleus's attention, and the cheat tool is almost done being made. Not gonna lie, I completely forgot about that. The seniors hear the loud footsteps and are shocked. Ordo calls in on the tablet saying it's an emergency. Idia asks what's wrong, but Ordo says it's rolling and the feed cuts off. The seniors rush to see what's going on and see the others running. The gang jumps into the kitchen to avoid the threat. It's the moment that makes me wish I could take a knife to myself and cut myself open and take out all of my fat. The moment we've all been dreading, whatever the fuck this is. Yay. Seriously though, why does media always have fat people's voices be hella deep? I'm extremely fat and my voice isn't deep. I mean, it's true I can't hit an E6 anymore, but I think that's more because I haven't sang in that high of a register in a while. I was still extremely fat when I could sing it, so I don't personally get it. Also, I will say, doing high-pitched voices when I do voice acting is way easier for me than doing lower ones, and again, extremely, extremely, extremely fat. And also, this is where my bad evening began. Anyways, Riddle and a second Kate show up, and Trey is shocked that there's 2 aces and deuces. He's not surprised about Kate because obviously, Ace is like, we aren't that round. And Trey starts to wake up. They point out Trey is also acting out of character and that he would never make Kate eat so many sweets, that he'd never let Ace or Deuce have loads of snacks, that they say not to overeat at birthday parties. The darkness realizes Trey is starting to wake up and attacks the others, leading them to ask Leona to use this unique Maho to beat them. 2 darkness lackeys and Trey escape to the kitchen. The darkness tries to get Trey to sleep, but he starts remembering. Not gonna lie, I'm rushing through this part reading-wise because my mental health is fucking plummeting, even though it's already at rock bottom. The darkness tries everything to get him to sleep, but Trey wakes up. The others burst into the kitchen together, and they take down the darkness. Trey's memories are a bit hazy. He remembers making a cake for Lilia's farewell party, but he doesn't really remember anything else. The others get him caught up on what's going on. He asks if Riddle has been woken up yet, and they say not yet, and that it's more difficult to wake up the housewardens. They go into that whole spiel. Trey officially joins the team. They give him the link. Ace and Sebek bicker, and they create and set Trey's dummy data. All of them decide to move on, which things are getting crowded. Trey even asks Silver if he's alright with so many people, and he says he's fine. Not gonna lie though, I don't think he would say if he wasn't. The team heads out to Riddle's dream, and the update ends. At least Ace's dream was fun. I can't say I like Trey's dream, but it's not Anaplex's fault I'm mentally ill with severe body issues. I do wish they wouldn't do the deep voice thing for fat people in general, like I said, I don't get it. Oh, and opera singers! There's loads of opera singers who are fat and are still in the, coloratura soprano range. I don't know how that word is pronounced, but the really, really high soprano range. I don't get it. Anyways, I'm glad they didn't include Riddle's dream. I thought they were, and I was like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna be doing half of this video while feeling like shit. But once I completed 268, they said I'd read everything, so yay, I guess. Before we end, I'd like to give a special shout out to my January ladyfingers in waiting, Eel, Omimi, Visa, Michgal2189, Yosada Kiseki, Ukaku, Richter32, Crabjail, Yungumo, and Farah Foe. Thank you for your support. It allows me to continue to do this, and I really appreciate it. And another thank you to everyone watching. I hope you guys have a better night than I am. And more sleep than I'm gonna get.